Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It is Tuesday. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme. In the studio with me today, Alan Rough, Hugh MacDonald and Darren Jackson. And we've got a full card of Premiership fixtures to discuss, as well as other things. Gambling is the red hot topic, the main story that everybody's been discussing. Everybody's got their tuppence worth on this one, on what should be done to help Brian Rice, who came out and said that his gambling addiction has returned. He obviously told the SFA about this problem, and quite a number of people have obviously rallied behind him, and rightly so, at Hamilton Accies. Neil Lennon was talking about that topic today.
It's an addiction, it's a disease, and Brian's had historic problems in the past. I think it's really brave of him to come forward and admit that and look to get some help. So the rules are the rules, and back in the day I liked to re-bet myself, then sort of, not big bets, but it was a bit of fun.
Rules are rules, Hugh MacDonald.
Yeah, and I think that it's proper that there's a blanket ban on players. I think there's a great risk to the integrity of a game if players are seen to bet in football matches, so it shouldn't happen. The Brian Rice situation has, of course, got a different and really desperate side to it as well, because it's a personal problem that he's had to face. It's been an ongoing problem, and it's one that needs treatment, and I think what the football authorities should do, I agree with the fact that it should be an amnesty. And I think it should be, and I know the PFA, Scottish PFA and others are addressing it, but I think it should be more education on it and certainly more help when people put their hands up.
Yeah, Rangers manager Stephen Gerrard with 100% backing for the Hamilton Accies boss.
Well, I admire the fact that he's come out and he's been really honest. He's a gentleman, Brian, since I've come up here. He's been fantastic with me. I think he's a man who's been around the game for an awful lot of time, so I've got nothing but respect for him, and I admire the fact that he's come out to try and get help and support, and he's certainly got that from everyone at Rangers, because everyone's got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, off the back of that as well, though, Darren, is the rather worrying aspect, which is quite simply, players, and on a BBC report yesterday on the news, a player has come out and said it's rife throughout players who are actually playing now.
Well, I'm not involved in the game at a club level just now, but I think we all know. I think we all know it is. But the easy thing now, Peter, is you can sit in your room, you can sit in the dressing room just on your phone. People might think you're texting. You could be on a betting site. It's so easy now. Sit in your computer. You don't need to go into a bookies. Where before, years ago, when we were playing. You, but that just going to the bookies, or Darren Jackson was in the bookies, and so then it becomes a problem. But nowadays it's hidden.
Yeah, and if there is an epidemic, not only in Scottish football but worldwide, Roughie, what can you do to stop it?
I don't think you can do much to stop it. As the guys have just said there, it's one of these addictions you can't see. If it was alcohol, you could see the effects of it. But because, as Darren's just told us there, you see it advertised everywhere, and it's up to the individual to get help if they think. I think there'll be more and more people will come out now on the back of this Brian Rice, and let's not kid ourselves on, there'll be a lot more than Brian Rice, because they're paid very handsomely just now, and that sort of encourages you to bet a wee bit. You think you've got more than what you have until you find out you haven't, because you're losing it all.
Yeah, Hugh, I mentioned this and I'll give the backstory to it. You more than anybody, because you've also suffered from the gambling addiction, know that it can dismantle a life. There may be players want to come forward. Should there be, as the Hamilton Chief Executive Colin McGowan has called for, an amnesty for players?
I think so, because I think what we'll have to do there is recognise there's a problem out there, and as soon as we recognise the problem, say, well, what makes it easier to address the problem? What makes it easier? And making it easier would be for people to come and say, right, listen, it's a one-off amnesty, come, seek help, you won't get any sanctions at the moment, but it is a one-off thing. You've got to come up now and we all address it as one. And I think it might help. It's a deeply layered problem as well. And if you've been around football, even in my state where I'm not as immersed in it as Darren and Roughie, but if you're about football, you hear the stories and you hear, footballers talk to you about it as well, about how they lost this much here and, how this one lost so much money last week, how somebody lost tens of thousands because they were waiting for somebody to get ready before going to the pictures and things. These stories are all out there, and it really needs a not even just for the sake of the game, but for the sake of the people themselves, Peter.
Are we at fault then, Roughie? If everybody knows about it and it's been going on forever and a day and the laws have been in place, are we all at fault for staying silent on it?
I don't think it's up to us to stay silent on it. I think it's up to the individuals who have obviously who are doing it. They're the ones who've got to be. I mean, the sponsorships out there for we all know it's all betting companies that sponsor the cups and that. It doesn't make me want to rush into the bookies or you or Darren and lots of other people out there. So for me, it's an individual thing. Once it grabs, again, Hugh will tell, once it must grab a hold of you, it's very difficult to get yourself out of it. So that's when you need to be big enough to go and get help.
Yeah, but an individual comes forward and explains the problem, and then you have, off the back of that, Hugh, a number of people saying it's rife in the game, it's rife in European football, it's rife in world football. Roughie says it's not a responsibility. I believe it is a responsibility if people are breaking the law, calling into question the integrity of the game. Do we all not have a responsibility if we know about these things to say, hold on, if this is a watershed moment, I'm going to tell you what's happening here. Are we guilty at that point, or are we using it the same as we do, as I mentioned to Darren earlier, are we using it as, well, we know it's against the law to break the speed limit, but we all do it?
It's a real cracker a question, that one. You could sit all. I mean, is the responsibility on the person that observes it, or is the responsibility on the person who's doing it? I know where I would go with it. I think it's on the responsibility in all this is on the person that's doing it. They've got to. I mean, there's a case for saying it is on both as well, but I reckon the only way, and I just speak through personal experience and talk to people that have been through the same thing. This is something that you've got to beat on your own. You can't be sitting in the house one day and saying, what chance have I got of not gambling because there's a Betfred ad on? What chance is me not drinking because there's Joe Bloggs sitting over there having a drink? My view, my experience was that you've got to say, no, this is my problem. Yeah. It's no Darren's, it's no Roughie. I've got to sort it.
I think so as well, Peter. And I know Brian obviously very well. Got good friends with him. I was at St Mirren with him. A wonderful coach, really good guy, and so dedicated. He is at every single game going down south. Obviously, I worked with Tommy Johnson. He said, I seen Chipper at Wigan the other day there. And I'm only surmising that he's maybe doing it on his phone. People don't know because people think Chipper's at games, Chipper's out working. You just don't know. People are not going to come up to you unless he's a really good friend and say, I've got a problem.
Yeah.
And that's people don't want to say I've got a problem. Yeah. Because they don't think they have.
Yeah, okay, I accept that part of it. I'm trying to see what paths everybody's going to go down now, and one of the ones that's coming like a steam train towards sport in general, Hugh, is the banning of gambling companies, the banning of beer companies. Yeah. I can see it all coming in the next 5 to 10 years. Is that the right move?
For me, no. Certainly if you want to deal with, if you're talking about dealing with addiction, it may have an effect on it, I wouldn't know, but I go back to my earlier answers. They say in the House of Commons that this is something that's got to be addressed on an individual level. And I don't mean that as in leave Chipper alone to get on with it. I mean, it's Chipper's problem, And let's surround them. Let's text them and say, listen, if you ever want in, I'm here for your phone call. The PFA, which I probably know they'll be doing soon. Listen, let's come along to some workshop, or we'll support you. And I know there'll be footballers who are going to, for example, GAA meetings, who'll be saying to them, listen, Chib, I'll come along and collection Tuesday. I'm not saying don't support them, but what I'm saying is the way out of this is yourself.
Yeah, it's not banning sponsorship.
I don't think that's a way out of it, no.
Okay, we've got a competition running. Have a look. Okay, we're going to talk about the fixtures tomorrow in the Premiership. Celtic heading down to Kilmarnock. It looks as if the deal for Soro should be done once he gets all the permits signed, sealed and delivered, doing his medical at this moment, according to the Celtic boss, Neil Lennon.
Just, the paperwork on Soro's still ongoing at the minute. No other comings or goings at the minute. He's doing his medicals at the minute, so that takes a day or two. They have to do things it's governed by the Israeli sort of council or FA, so it's a day-to-day thing. So they do the bloods, they do the medicals, so that's ongoing at the minute.
So Ismaila Soro is a backup in the middle of the park. Do they need anybody else in your mind?
Well, it depends on striker, it depends on Lee, what their thoughts are on Lee. Griffiths, if they think he did enough the other night, I was at the game with Roughie. I didn't think it was a hard game for a striker to play in because Partick played the back five and four in front of them. There's not a lot of space, but he gets his goal. I think he'll always score goals. Could he maybe do with a left back? I think Johnny Hayes does really well there. I think they could play him there, but I don't think this boy's going to come in and go into that midfield. There's no way he's going to play instead of Scott Brown McGregor. And Christie's obviously been suspended and Rogic came in. As I say, Roughie was there. Rogic played very well. So I think they're covered. I do think they're covered, but obviously, like any manager, you want players in.
Yeah, don't worry, Hugh, if you hear that Darren's hanging about with Roughie, that's just the early days of when a new person comes in, Roughie befriends them, and then after 5 or 6 months, dumped.
It's the old scorpion and the frog.
Yeah.
You'll be going across the water, he'll be carrying you across the water one day, and it stings you. You're done.
It's as simple as that. We've all experienced that kind of fake friendship. Let's move on, Roughie. Look at sick boy feeling sorry for himself. Honestly, he's in the worst place possible for pity, Hugh, isn't he?
Oh no, I've in my house. I get it as well. So there's no problem coming here.
Roughie, what about Rangers? Steven Gerrard, clearly at this point, we are in this great position where it's tit for tat at the top. Nobody seemingly can slip up.
Well, it just shows you how things have changed, because let's be serious, at the start of the season and in a bit of the season, we were all going Celtic 10 points. Aye. That's changed. That's changed because Rangers have put on a good show in most of the games.
Did you say Celtic 10 points?
No, I think there was a few people on this programme said Celtic 10 points.
I would be a Celtic. I think I said Celtic 9 points.
Around about the beginning.
I said 6. I said 6.
But I don't think any of us would say 6 now, would we?
Yeah.
You're still saying 6?
Still say 6.
But I wouldn't be saying 6 because of the performances that Rangers have had against Celtic. And people at Rangers will be saying that as well. I think the players that he's brought in are far, far better than what they had. I do think I think it was. Do you think I'll give you credit for that? I think he said the Rangers-Celtic games against each other would be really, really important this year because none of the other teams are putting in a challenge at all. So Rangers have got the wee heads up in that one, so the next one coming up is going to be even more important. I just don't think it'll be 6 points.
Yeah, okay. Steven Gerrard is well aware of the need to make Ibrox a fortress.
We had a 6-week block where it felt like we were away for the majority of it, so that turns now, and we need to try and make the most of Ibrox. We're certainly going to need our fans to get behind us and make some noise, and hopefully we can get right back into our rhythm and build on the last league performance.
I just wonder if the advantage is now with Rangers, Darren, when you know they've got a game in hand, 8 home games between now and April the 4th, St Mirren, Ross County, Aberdeen, Hibs, Livingston, Hamilton, Celtic and Motherwell. And then those 6 away games are at Tynecastle, Hamilton, Kelly, St Johnstone, Ross County and St Mirren.
And this isn't me being disrespectful to the other teams, but I think it will come down to the Old Firm games, because I think the two of them are that strong now. I think the level, I don't think Aberdeen have hit the heights that they've hit over the last few years, have been excellent, and they've still been good, but they've not hit the heights. Hearts, Hibs are not the teams that they were over the last couple of years, and Celtic and Rangers are definitely are too strong for everybody else, and I do honestly think it'll boil down to the Old Firm games.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, and sometimes I think we just deal in the madness that surrounds Alfredo Morelos. I'm certainly not going to be one of these guys jumping on, let's elongate any criticism of him at the moment. It's been done and dusted. But now he's been linked with a move to Barcelona. It just keeps on giving, Hugh, to be perfectly honest with you. No harm to the boy. His ex-Colombian boss, Jorge Luis Pinto, has a quote on this one, basically about Alfredo. He says, Alfredo Morelos would be the ideal striker to replace Luis Suarez for me. Why not? His performances in the last year certainly suggest that he could replace him. He's been a battering ram at Rangers. I've got huge admiration for what Alfredo has achieved so far in European football, and he's still young.
It's probably why he's the ex-Colombian manager, isn't it? I mean, it's always when you're commenting, it's as if you're slaughtering the player, and you're not. I was at the Celtic Rangers game, and I get huge respect for Morelos as a player in the past. I actually didn't think he played that well there. A lot of my colleagues disagreed, but what I did think, he was an absolute nuisance during the game against Celtic. He's been fantastic during the season for Rangers. His record in the Europa League has definitely changed my attitude towards him, Peter. He's a better player than I thought he was at the beginning of the season. I think his goals, and I think was the goal against Porto at Ibrox, the goals against Feyenoord, the second header in particular, I thought that was top class. But let's not get carried away with ourselves. I mean, if you're talking about, Barcelona are talking about rejigging their front three. They're talking about Mbappe, Neymar, bringing in people like that. I mean, let's be frank.
Yeah, I can see it now. Just mention Barcelona, it'll be fine. So it'll add another couple of million onto it. Fire it out there. Why they'd be putting a television control to the ear, I don't know. But nevertheless, Hibs against Aki's Roughie. Jason Naismith is out for the rest of the season with a knee ligament damage, so that's a blow for Jack Ross. He's going to have to go back into the market.
He's been playing well this season. It gives you a bit of strength. It's something that Hibs didn't have with the two, with Scott Allen and Mallon in there, and that's a shame. You don't like to see any player getting out injured for any length of time at this part of the season.
And Canberra, would you sell him? Jack Ross says no, he's not going to like Poznan.
Well, the reason you would sell him is if you had somebody better than him coming in, and I don't think Hibs have got the money to do that.
Okay, Hearts are making moves in the transfer window. This time in, they've got Donis Advejaj.
Yeah.
He's in. He's changing it. He's trying to build his own side.
He's rocking a boat and he's going to get criticism. There's going to be headlines about it, but he's looked at it, and I think good on him. He's looked at it and he said to players, I don't want you, you're out, I want you there, he's changed clear to fullback. He's got players coming back as well. I don't see them anywhere near relegation.
No?
No, I don't.
No chance.
They'll get away.
And he only get criticism if he doesn't win games.
Exactly.
And as I said before, he's got 5 first-team players back. He's got Naismith, Walker, Suter, Haring, and Washington. I'm not sure if Haring's back, but he's got first team, the guys that would go right into the first team, and that's a huge difference. And he's brought youth in as well. I'm not sure about Clare at right back.
No.
I think they need better than that if they're going to climb the league.
Yeah, and if any of the players get injured or they have any medical problems, they can always fall back on Craig Levine and the medical team to try and get them back there fit. Just thought I'd leave you with that thought.
Glass of milk?
Yeah.
We sauce of milk, please.
It's been a crazy... Did you see his face there? Did you not know he was in the medical team? Anyway, here's a look at the fixtures to look forward to tomorrow. Roughie, any shocks or slip-ups between the top two or at the bottom end?
I think Kilmarnock will get Celtic again.
What does that mean, Roughie?
I think
Win? 2-0, 3-0?
No, Kilmarnock could get a draw at that one.
Okay, there you are. Okay, there's the line from Roughie right at the end there. He just comes up trumps with a back post header. Anyway, on that note, let's hope that the Calpol works and Roughie is back 100% tomorrow. We certainly hope so. It doesn't augur well for us in the tennis tonight, to be honest with you, Hugh, now that he's not feeling well. If you want to comment on any of the points we've been making on the programme, then you can across all social media, Twitter, Facebook Live as well, Monday to Friday. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll get all the great content. And if you download the app, you get it at your fingertips. Simple as that. Thanks very much to Roughie, to Hugh MacDonald, and of course to Darren Jackson. From myself, Peter Martin, thank you for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.